You are listening to the Life in Attleboro podcast, where we interview the city's most interesting people who are making a positive difference in our community. Hey everyone, I'm the host of the Life in Attleboro podcast, Mike Sullivan, and today we are bringing you a very insightful interview with Sheryle. She's the broker of Kensington Real Estate Brokerage right here in Attleboro. She has 38 years of experience, education, and passion for helping people. We spoke about the current housing market right here in our city. She also shared advice for people who might be hesitant to sell or buy a home with the current prices and interest rates. There are programs out there that can help, and she sheds lights on those. And you got to hear this. She talks about the moment that she jumped out of a plane with her mother. It is a crazy story. Enjoy our conversation with Sheryle. All right, joining me now is Sheryle. She is the broker at Kensington Real Estate Brokerage, located right there on North Main Street, a stone's throw away from the Colonel Blackington Inn. Full disclosure, I am a licensed realtor under Sheryle. She has been a friend, mentor, and just a guiding light for me in many aspects of life, especially real estate, for the last several years. She encouraged me to get my real estate license, and she has helped every step of the way, but she is a true expert. So Sheryle, thank you so much for joining us. I'm excited for today's discussion because you have a ton of good stuff to give, good information for people in the current housing market right now, which is extremely challenging. But that's why I turned to you. So first of all, how long have you been in real estate? When did the journey start for you to get to where you are today?
Well, 38 years this year. I've been in real estate full time in several different capacities. First as a salesperson, and then moving on to management, and ultimately where I am today, a broker owner of Kensington Real Estate Brokerage. But the reason behind it all was because my first experience in purchasing a home was a nightmare. And I just said to myself, it has to be better for people making the largest investment in a very big decision in their life that affects themselves and their family. So I guess I'm happy for that because I wouldn't be here today. But I'm going back to the 1980s when there was no computers in offices. We had offices. And you had to go in every day because there was like the real estate Bible, right? With every 2 weeks it came out, and you all had to hover over and see if there was something for your clients. Well, we didn't even have, I know we had copy machines, but we had those little buzzer things. I can't even think of them anymore.
Oh, pagers?
Pagers, yeah. And we did graduate up to phones that were mounted in your car. But really, I'm grateful for that bad experience. Literally, the offer was written saying the property was in North Attleboro versus Attleboro, and there was several other things. There was no one to help me get financing, my husband and I. And just to encourage everybody out there, back in the 80s, the interest rates, I had to stand in line at Century Bank in Taunton and pick a Christmas ball off the tree and then get selected for a discounted rate of 10 7/8 adjustable for the first year, and then it moved up to 11 7/8. But the good news about that, the purchase was $69,900, and in 2 years later, we sold the property and moved up for $134,900. So, I'm a believer that you have to get started in real estate, irregardless of what the interest rates are, and you will see your equity grow. So, so once I decided the real estate was for me, I went and interviewed at different offices, and DiGirolamo is not an easy name to say. I like how you say it, DiGirolamo, which is more of the Italian version. But I decided that my father still can't say my married last name, and I'm married 40 plus years. But Mansfield, there was a lot of DiGirolamo, so I figured at the very least that would be a good platform for me to start, because in reading my real estate pre-licensing studies, you should be pretty synonymous with your company because they may not remember your name, but they know the brand that you represent. So I researched, and I selected Jerry Abbott Realtors, Geraldine, she's female, and she started her company as a single mom with 3 kids, and she ranked very highly professionally with other realtors that I talked to. She had leadership positions with her association, And I saw that she wrote an article in the local Mansfield News. So I said, this is someone I think I can learn from. And she treated me like a daughter. She took me under her wing and introduced me to the Foxborough Company, then the Foxborough Company, and made me her relocation director, which helped me grow and get educated in the geography, covering from Westwood to Mansfield to Attleboro and down to Duxbury and South Shore. So what I learned from my relocation experience with those clients is, it's not just a house. It's not just brick and mortar, as they say, but it's the experience, it's the lifestyle that you get in those communities that's important to people. So you have to ask questions, you have to probe. And I did work for her for 5 years and was a top producer with her. And then I remember when I first interviewed with her, and my father always had me read positive thinking books, right? Norman Vincent Peale and the likes. And so I was really pumped and all excited. And I said, someday I want to sit where you're sitting, behind the desk. And so an opportunity came from a recruiter for the Jewel Company that would wanted me to make a lateral move to their company who was expanding. And I said, I'm not really interested. I'm really treated well by my company. And I went and spoke to Greg, who then took over the business, Greg Abbott, and we share birthdays and we're still friends to this day. And I said, I have an opportunity to learn on the other side of the desk because I wouldn't make a lateral move. But if I could learn management side of the desk, it would really help me with my career goal to have my own company someday. So he said, I applaud you for coming and speaking with me. And, they gave me a party when I left. And that's good business. That's the right way to handle transitions, I believe. And again, like I said, we're still good friends to this day. I went to his mom's funeral. I just loved her to pieces. And I thank her for being my first mentor. So my second mentor is Richard B. DeWolf, who I interviewed for the management job with no experience, mind you, just, working hard in real estate and loving my clients and doing a good job. And so I sat down with him and I said, he asked me a series of questions and I had to ask him a question. I said, I have no experience. I said, why do you think I can do this job? And he took his hands and slid them across the conference table and said, Sheryle, I just want you to make more money for me and the real estate company than I can with the money in the bank. And he just empowered me with that simple move of his hands, imaginary money, piles of it, across the desk towards me. And I said, wow, if he believes in me, why don't I believe in me? I should believe in me. And I was not going to let that man down. And to this day, if he never sold the company, I probably would still be working for him. He had 3 words: honesty, integrity, and fairness. And it was like a 3-legged stool to him. You can't miss one in that or you fall over. So I take from him all those great lessons. And I think as the older I got, the more I think about, we all have the ability as leaders or as Girl Scout troop leader or teacher or nurse or big brother, big sister, to empower other people with the right words. And it's probably why I like being a broker owner and helping other people, not only with their real estate, but with their real estate careers, because someone did it for me. So those are my two people. I mean, getting my real estate license and starting was because of an experience I knew could be better for people, but it was ultimately not my why. You know the book, What's Your Why? Yes. And I'll get into that a little later.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Good stories. I wasn't familiar with the second one there. So you took his words and that imaginary slide of the money. How many people do you think you've helped over the decades? Thousands? Hundreds?
Well, I'm not sure, but I can tell you this. Taking myself, not just with the experiences of management and whatnot, but I am an education junkie, and I believe that you should be a lifelong learner. So this is my little CRS badge I proudly wear, and Women's Council of Realtors. Those 2 organizations have the best education and the best support systems. And I was happy to be the Greater Boston president of the Women's Council of Realtors, which got me a lot of new connections and opportunities to learn about even more bigger communities. And the second group, the Council of Residential specialist, CRS by designation. RRC is kind of like the college, and the CRS designation is like your diploma for graduating. So I was president for the New England region, 6 states. And in 2020, when COVID hit, everyone was somewhat isolated. And we were charged as a council or a region to have 6 meetings a year and offer educational opportunities, and then 6 networking events. So when COVID hit, everything just stopped. And typically at those meetings, just to get some numbers out there, we probably would have 35. We'd have to move the classes from Connecticut to New Hampshire to Vermont to Maine, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. So maybe if it was a good day, you got 100, depending on the speaker. Well, I didn't know about Zoom, and Zoom was a show, a TV show for kids when I was growing up. I remember that show. But boom, they just took off in 2020. And I can tell you that I started with an idea. I took my 2 education people, Kelly Catallo and Nora Lynch, and I said to them, every Monday we're going to do a Mastermind Monday, and I want you to get a guest, and we'll reach more people, which we did, than we ever could have in a full 365 year. And it took people's spirits up. It just lifted everybody. And it was great. How are you doing in Vermont? Is it snowing there today? So it's what we all needed. And so I feel that's the most, I think, in a calendar year, 2 years, because I was president for 2 years and we kept it going. And now we're meeting more in person, but they're still living with a mastermind every once a month. I think they do it now, and highlight a particular speaker or someone from Inman News, for instance, was on. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of that. And my 2 educators, chairs, they really got the speakers in. It was my idea, and they just took it and they ran with it. And I'm so very, very proud of them, and happy to tell you that we reached probably 10 times as many people than any other calendar year.
That's crazy. That's awesome to hear. You are the ultimate educator. You really are. You send us links to seminars and classes all the time, and super appreciate that. So yes, if you're looking for help, Sheryle does know top to bottom how to guide you through this crazy, tricky process. The housing market right now in Attleboro. So one thing that changed, like you said, was Zoom. It took off. So did the price of homes during the pandemic. So as it stands now, June 14th, 2024, what's the current Attleboro housing market look like in general?
I can tell you that I'm feeling that there's going to be a little paradigm shift, right? Because now I'm seeing a lot more houses on the market, come to market. There's a lot more price change going on than there had been. In 2020, 2021, part of 2022, I'd say 22 and 23 were my best real estate years ever in my 37 years. And it really is because of the National Association of Realtors that told the government that we are essential. There were 15,000 people that couldn't close because the registry wasn't open, or you couldn't get smoke inspections done because they were on emergency only, the fire departments. So I think we had the heyday. The interest rates were okay, but in this last year, the interest rates kind of bumped up a little bit, and they're into the 7s. I just had a conversation actually with one of my go-to mortgage people, and she's going to be in this afternoon, and she told me she has 10 new products rolling out. But it's called the Cash Edge, which gives you cash, buy like a cash buyer. There's bridge loans that are coming back. There's buy now, sell later. So a lot of sellers couldn't last year go and buy a house subject to the sale of their home. So they've just been sitting and waiting and not able to do anything. I can tell you that I'm so grateful that if my friend of mine, who was my client, 4 years we've been looking to get her into a particular neighborhood. And each time we would go look and make an offer, we have to say sale contingent on the sale of her home. And we couldn't win. Cash buyers were taken over. No contingencies, no home inspections, no appraisal issues. So it's been very difficult. But I was one of 2 bids on this particular property she wanted to buy. Both buyers were a home sale contingent. But the nice thing I had the good idea to do is 2 years ago when we tried this, I said, let me do the floor plans, let me do the photos, let me get you ready to go. So all we have to do is push the button, put you in MLS, and good to go. And when I made the presentation to the co-broke listing agent, I also put in a days on market average for her price point, which showed that the average days on market is between 5 and 7. So they decided it was an estate sale, the three of them, that my offer and my buyer was much better prepared. So they went with us. So that was huge. And those are all secrets and good tips that you get with experience and with sharing like we do in the office, success stories on how to best prep your buyer and your sellers for a changing market, which is always changing. But just to let you know, the average list 2023 was 509. In 2024, the average is 573 in Attleboro today. So that's up almost 13% year over year. So happy news for people that own homes. What else can I tell you? The other piece of good news, in just about all categories, multifamily, single family, and condos, they're all getting over 100% of the ask price. Wow. So it's still a very healthy time if you want to sell. Again, you have to pick the right realtor, the right negotiator, right, and educated. There's a series of questions that we have, and you have as well, in the guideline books when choosing a realtor. Like, for instance, how many designations and certifications do you hold? How many days does it take you to sell a home? How does it compare to others? What's the average variation between your initial listing and final sale price? And what are you going to specifically do to market the home? And can you recommend providers? I know we share a list in the office of specialized vendors, so that if you haven't had a recent problem, needed a water heater in 48 hours, Chris in our office has it, or Dave in the office has it. So we made that list, and we keep adding to it, and we have great contacts in the area. So that's the bigger part of our team. And from the buyer side, I get questions too, like, well, what about buying? Because we do a considerable amount of working with sellers, but the biggest thing buyers can do today is to improve their credit, right? So how do you do that? So you check for errors on your credit report. You can start with Karma. I think Karma does a nice job. Yep. Pay down credit card bills. Believe it or not, if you're maxed out, that lowers your credit score. So I think keep it under 50% of what, if you approve for $5,000, don't let it go over $2,500. And if you've had some difficulties, the rule is kind of like 6 months to 12 months. If you're trying to clean up your credit, you might have to wait. But I would put you in touch with, like, today, Berna Brown's coming in from Envoy Mortgage, and it's constantly changing because there's not a lot of refis going on with mortgage companies, and I think they're trying to competitively earn people's business. So that number might be 3 months or maybe 6 months. And don't go shopping. we had on one of the listings I was on, the co-broke comes in and her buyer says, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to get new furniture." She goes, "Not till after you close. Don't buy anything," because that changes your whole picture.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right. So education and experience will absolutely create an edge when it comes to selling and buying a home. So Sheryle has that for sure. So just in general, the city of Attleboro, why is it so appealing to people when it comes to the cost of living compared to other cities and towns that you help clients in?
All right. So, well, I think that, going back to my relocation days, it was important for people to be close to the commuter rail and also commuter highways, right, in access. And we are really blessed to have 495, 295, 152, 118, Route 1, Route 1A. There's everything you could want to get to very quickly. Going to the Cape, going to Providence to see a show or find dinner. So that is a big appeal. But when you dig a little deeper, the museums that we have, the Art Museum, the Industrial Museum, Women of Work, even the museum at the Mill is kind of really cool if you haven't been. Cape and Park Zoo, who can say they have a zoo in their town? And my favorite, by the way, is the river otter and the red panda. And I buy memberships for my kids that take my grandkids there. And I just love walking around there. It's just a great place. We have 20 conservation areas with over 600 acres. So if you want to go take a walk, if you don't have the back 40 in your own backyard, you can go and visit a lot of those parks. Lasselet Shrine during Christmas is just a magical thing. We have a beautiful public library. We have a YMCA. And all of these things, contribute to the lifestyle people can enjoy living in the city of Attleboro. So again, access to the MBTA, commuter rail stations. We got 2. Again, thankfully, South Attleboro is underway again. And excellent schools. Excellent schools.
Absolutely. I just spoke with Superintendent David Sawyer for episode number 2, and we talked all about the high school and the school system in general. Ton of exciting things happening, so nailed that. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions off topic, but do you have anything else you'd like to add real estate wise? You've covered a ton of information, but if not, I'm putting you through rapid fire so we can get to know you even better. You ready? Favorite flavor of ice cream, what is it?
It used to be black raspberry. I haven't had any in a long time, but I think black raspberry with jimmies, we used to call them, but now I guess they call them sprinkles.
There you go. That's right. Dogs or cats? I know the answer.
Dog.
Yes. You have a dog?
I do. His name is Coda Bear. Actually, I have 3. One was kind of like adopted by my dad because we lost my mom 3 years ago this month, and he just called my dog Gus his therapy dog, and you don't even have to put him on a chain. He just loves my dad and follows him around. So that's Gus. And then Luca, my son, I got a good real estate story about my son. When he bought his house on 11 Manor Haven Drive, he goes, "Can I take Luca with me?" We kind of got him for our birthday together because we're both April. But let me just share quickly. He bought his house in 2020 for $394,250. Today, when I did a quick report for him, it's worth $511,000. So he, in just 4 years, and this is why get started. Don't wait at any interest rate. But he's made $116,000 in equity by paying himself, by paying down the mortgage, and building some equity. So, yeah. So he and Haley, and now he's got Alana, my granddaughter, and a new baby, Gemma, just born June 6th, and my dog Luca and Layla are over there. So yeah. So dogs.
Congratulations. So when there is a saying in real estate, it goes, don't wait to buy real estate, then wait. You're a firm believer in that. Yeah, I believe in that as well. Yeah. All right, back to rapid fire. Favorite kind of food? Oh, love that. Could go for one right now. What's your ideal vacation? A beach, skiing in the mountains, something else?
National parks. I had a coach, Ed Hatch, one of my other mentors, and he made me sit down painfully and do a budget and do the things I wanted to go to and create and do for others. And so one of them was, as a manager for the DeWolf Company, he generally took his President's Circle group to different destinations. And one of them was Banff, Lake Louise, the Fairmont. And I wanted to go there for 15 years. And I wrote that down, and he made it happen. And we went there for 2 weeks, and it was just outstanding. We first went to, I think you have to fly into Seattle, and then we went to Victoria Island, which is in Canada, and took a motorcycle around the island. Then we got another ferry, went to Vancouver, and got on a train through the Rocky Mountains, which was quite extraordinary. And then we ultimately rented a car and drove up to Lake Louise, which is the water's like aqua blue. It's beautiful. The mountains are crazy. We stood on a glacier. So I think the older I get, I'm more impressed with nature and the miracles that happen in nature. So looking forward to Montana's next on the list, Yellowstone.
That's awesome. That's going to be beautiful. I've heard awesome things about Vancouver and how beautiful it is. So you just match that. Yeah. Yeah. So one more rapid fire is just one thing most people don't know about you. You've done a lot, but
yeah, I think it's so. My mother, right? She had a bucket list, and I think I'm getting old enough that I should make my bucket list too. But on her bucket list was she wanted to parachute jump. And so I said, I can't let her do it alone. And at that time, I was a lifeguard, and two of my buddies at Lake Massapog, they said, I'll do that with you. And so we would get on the lifeguard stand and practice jumping and rolling and landing. But we actually did it. It was Turner Falls, Massachusetts. And you got there, you kind of had like a one-piece blue suit on and shoes that had about 2 inches worth of rubber. So when you landed, you had some softening. And you got up in a small Cessna with no back seats. You just scooched your bum in there with 3 other people. And they taught us that if the chute doesn't open after you count to 10,000, but 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, you got to punch the emergency one, pull the thing, and throw it over your shoulder. So I think about it now, and I'm like, why did I ever do that? But I'm so happy I did. It's a feeling like I can't even tell you. You're just floating in the air, and you think you're like just sustained in that spot and not dropping really quickly. But it was pretty amazing. I can remember this one lady, they're saying, Carol, jump, and she wouldn't get up. You actually have to get out and step on the wing and then throw your arms back and fall backwards. So it was pretty amazing, but I won't do it again unless the plane's on fire.
So I will never do that in my life. What is that feeling like when you're about to jump out of a plane, like that split second, you're like, okay, this is it. What does that feel like? I can't even imagine that.
I think it was good coaching, again, and good training. And you just had trust in the people that, you spent 10 hours with. And I wasn't the first group up. So nothing happened to them bad.
Yeah.
My mother, of course, did break her ankle, but but that's okay. But she was, again, so proud to have achieved that. She wanted to drive an 18-wheeler. She didn't get to do that, probably just as well.
That's so when you're free falling, do you feel, is it like that roller coaster feeling when like the stomach just goes whoop? Or do you not feel that when you're actually going down? It's the first few seconds? I do not like that feeling. That's why I ask.
I'm not a roller coaster person, so I get it. But I think I was just in awe, right? This is really how I feel about the national parks. I was having a perspective from an entirely different elevation, right? Than the feet on the ground. So I'm looking and such distances. I don't know the height at which we got up and jumped. I should have memorized that. But it was extraordinary. It was extraordinary feeling. Sure. Yes.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add on any topic?
Yeah. So I would just like your listeners to know that, if you have a good realtor, awesome. But don't just call them when you're thinking of selling. Call them when you're thinking of maybe remodeling or adding on. We usually have really good contacts, remodelers that we know, and we can make recommendations. So feel free, to consult with your realtor on all topics. And there's a lot of changes going on right now, which will be revealed in the fourth quarter, probably August, with how we do business. So you want to be with someone that's plugged in and know what's going on. I'm happy to be on the board of directors for Greater Boston. And so I wanted to be in the front row seat when all things were happening and bringing it back here to my team and sharing. So use me, call me. I'm happy to help in any capacity I can. If you want to refinance, I have great contacts. I have great plumbers, great electricians. So please do feel free to call and use me and my knowledge. I'm happy to share.
And where can people find you? What's your website, email?
So Sheryle is on SHERYLE .realtor will work to get you to my webpage. And then my telephone number direct is 508-685-1600. I'm on Facebook under just Sheryle, also Sheryle Elson DiGirolamo, and then also Kensington Real Estate Brokerage. So you can come follow us on those pages. And I think that's about it.
Perfect. Sheryle, thank you so much. You are a plethora of knowledge and, again, a huge friend and mentor. So thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
I really hope you enjoyed our conversation with Sheryle. She is awesome. We are just getting started here on the Life in Attleboro podcast, and it would be awesome if you could subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, leave a 5-star review. Most importantly, tell a friend, family member, somebody who lives in our great city. Share this episode with them. Get them to subscribe. And if you think you know someone who would be an incredible guest on our podcast, someone who's making a difference in our community, or just has a really cool story to share, please shoot us an email at lifeinattleboro@gmail.com. That's lifeinattleboro@gmail.com. And most importantly, make sure you sign up for our email list. That's where you get exclusive benefits. The Life in Attleboro community is growing so fast. So if you always want to be in the know about events happening in our great city, be among the first to find out about brand new podcast episodes. And most importantly, if you want to save some money and support our great businesses and restaurants in Attleboro, you got to sign up for the list. You can do that by going to lifeinattleboro.com. You'll see the sign up display right there on our homepage. That's it for today, everyone. Life in Attleboro is a great thing. Support our community, promote positivity, and make a stranger smile. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Life in Attleboro podcast.